everybody. Welcome to Live Interactive English. I am Shane.
And I'm Nina.
Nina, I think we're talking about cakes today.
Yes.
But this makes me think of a problem that I have in Taiwan.
What's that?
And translating from Chinese to English when talking about cake.
Oh, I'm guessing you mean about all the cakes that are not really cakes, right?
So cake should be like 蛋糕, right?
Yes.
Like in English, when we think of a cake, that's what we think of, right? So a moon cake.
It's not really a cake.
If I said, hey, Dad, you want some cake? You know, he's from America. He doesn't know anything about Chinese culture or language. And I gave him that. He'd be like, what is this? Is it a cookie? Is it a pastry?
True.
Right?
There are many other ones like the sun cake from Taichung, I believe.
How about wife?
Right?
How about like old lady cake or wife cake?
Wife cake. Oh, right. Those are all beans, right? So it's more like a pastry type of thing. But for some reason in Chinese, we call it cake.
I think it's just because it's just not that clear sometimes what makes a cake a cake.
That's
but in
true.
English, I think pretty much, think of a birthday cake or something like that. That's what we call cake.
Yeah, just that.
If it's not that, then I don't know. Sometimes you have problems. You might have to call that, what, a moon pastry?
Yeah, I think moon pastry sounds about right.
If you're not sure, call it a pastry.
Yes, that's what I think.
Okay. Why don't we get into today's lessons where we are talking about cake. Actual cake.
Yes.
Okay.
Flour, sugar, eggs, milk, and butter. That's all you need to make a good cake. For a great cake, though, you have to get creative, and that's what cooks have done for hundreds of years. They've added fruits and nuts, beaten the eggs into foam, and decorated the results with sweet designs that look almost too good to eat. Until the 1920s, bakers had seemingly done everything possible to make a cake delicious. Then, along came Harry Baker. When he moved to Hollywood in 1923, he was alone and needed a hobby. He started experimenting with cake recipes at night, hoping to find a way to make a cake that was as soft as the popular angel food cake, but as rich as traditional butter cakes.
Okay, so chiffon cake, a modern-day sweet treat, and this is part 1.
So chiffon cake is an actual cake.
It's an actual cake, but not only is it a cake, it's a modern cake.
Ooh, fancy.
This cake has been around forever, basically, right? I mean, well, you know, for a long time.
Yeah, I've seen it before, and I think I've tried it at some point. It's very fluffy,
Well, I'm not
right?
saying chiffon cakes. I'm saying cakes in general have been around for a long time. So to have a modern cake, that means that, you know, it's modern.
It's modern.
It's exciting.
Okay, let's find out more about it. Flour, sugar, eggs, milk, and butter. That's all you need to make a good cake. Sounds about right?
Right,
Okay.
simple.
For a great cake, though, you have to get creative, and that's what cooks have done for hundreds of years. Okay, so you have to get creative. You know what's really cool? I used to watch this TV show where they had people, well, I guess bakers, make cake, and they would do crazy designs on it.
Yeah, they do. There's a lot of those kind of shows.
Yeah.
Like Netflix and stuff like that. There's probably 10 shows that are about baking cakes.
Yeah, and it's so cool. They're so talented.
Yeah, and there's one that's really funny. It's like they want them to fail on purpose. It's called Nailed It.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they have just home cooks trying to do some very complicated cakes, and they look really ridiculous because they can't do them as well as the professionals.
Wow.
And it's really funny.
Nice.
Okay, continuing. They've added fruits and nuts, beaten the eggs into foam, and decorated the results with sweet designs that look almost too good to eat.
Yes, that's what I was talking about.
Right. Yeah, and like on that show, right? These things look like they're too good. They're like works of art.
Exactly, and it's just a shame that you have to cut through it and eat it. It's like, I just want to leave it there as decoration.
Yeah, like you think about like how expensive cakes can be, like a wedding cake.
Yes,
Wedding
indeed.
cakes are so expensive. Unbelievable. Okay, so we have a vocabulary word here, foam. So foam is just a mass of very small air bubbles usually on the surface of a liquid.
Ah, yes.
But you can use foam made with chemicals, like for example, if you need to put out a fire.
Oh yeah, like the
fire extinguisher.
Exactly.
Right? So our example sentence, the firemen sprayed a kind of chemical foam on the burning building. They should say fire person, right?
Fire person. Yeah, it could have been a woman.
Right? That's what I think.
Very nice. All right, continuing. Until the 1920s, bakers had seemingly done everything possible to make a cake delicious. Okay, so by the 1920s, cakes were just amazing already.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so many things you can do, but I guess if you're talking about fillings and putting things like toppings on top of it, I guess it's kind of like the sky is the limit with just your creativity.
That's true.
Right? Or making a design or something on it. Okay.
Continuing. Then along came Harry Baker.
Wait. His name is Harry Baker?
I wonder
and he bakes cakes?
Do you think that's where the word bake came from?
No, because this is like the 1920s. The word bake had to be before that.
That's so cool though. Maybe he was born to be a baker.
He was, obviously.
Right.
It must be in his his history, and his ancestors must have really been bakers.
Okay,
right?
Maybe. Okay. So when he moved to Hollywood in 1923, he was alone and needed a hobby. I'm guessing that's baking.
Right, I guess that's what he landed on. Do you cook or bake for a hobby?
I've actually never baked. Well, actually, I bake brownies. I don't know if that counts because those are packets from Costco, and you just mix it up.
Add water and one
egg
or something.
Exactly. So it's not really baking.
I think we can count it as baking.
Okay.
Why not?
Yeah, okay. So the easier version of baking.
Okay, I think baking's fun.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, continuing. He started experimenting with cake recipes at night, hoping to find a way to make a cake that was as soft as the popular angel food cake, but as rich as traditional butter cakes.
Wow.
I love butter cakes.
Those are amazing.
I pick up a cake, I feel like I want it to be heavy.
Yeah.
Because then I know it's got all that butter and eggs. I don't want a bunch of air in it.
Okay. But what if you had both?
Well, I think that's what a chiffon cake is.
So recipe, he was working on a recipe. Recipe is a noun, and it's a set of instructions telling you how to prepare and cook food. Okay, so also how to, the list of what food is needed to make that thing. So let's say my mom passed down a recipe of how to make samosas. She would tell me the ingredients I need and the steps to make it.
Right, the ingredients and the steps, right.
Yeah, so example sentence would be, even though I followed the recipe exactly, the fried rice tastes awful.
I made fried rice once, and it did taste awful.
Oh, my fried rice is actually really good.
Really? Maybe I should get your recipe.
Maybe.
Okay, why don't we take a quick break, and we will come back to talk more about chiffon cake.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。这2天的课程是要介绍 Chiffon Cake 戚风蛋糕。做蛋糕的基本原料大概就是面粉啊、糖、鸡蛋、牛奶还有奶油。那厨师们为了做出很出色的蛋糕，他们添加了水果、坚果，把这个鸡蛋啊打成泡沫，还用漂亮的设计来装饰，要让这个蛋糕看起来让人觉得美到舍不得吃。那么Shane老师刚刚就提到说，做蛋糕就是那样嘛，那差别就在于馅料和配料可以有无限的创意。好，老师这时候用到 filling。Filling 就可以指馅料或者是填充物，还有提到 topping，topping 可以指配料的意思，那就常用来指糕点、披萨等等上面会放的那种装饰配料。好，那老师还有用到 the sky is the limit。字面意思是天空就是极限，那就是用来讲说像天空无边无际，去比喻说有无限的可能，没有任何限制。好，那么课文写到说直到1920年代，面包师傅似乎已经尽一切可能来让蛋糕变得美味。那么接着 Harry Baker 他出现了，他1923年搬到好莱坞的时候， 他只有一个人，需要找个嗜好。于是呢，他就开始在晚上来试验蛋糕食谱，希望可以找到一种方法，要做出像天使蛋糕一样柔软，又像传统奶油蛋糕一样浓郁的那种蛋糕。好，我们来看单字 foam。foam 是名词，表示泡沫或是气泡。那例句写到说，消防员在失火的大楼上喷洒了一种化学泡沫。这时候老师们就提到灭火器，我们学一下 fire extinguisher。Fire extinguisher 就是灭火器哦。好，下一个单字 recipe， 它表示食谱或是烹饪的配方。那我们今天3个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们就来看第一个重点是 until 是指直到点点点，直到什么什么为止。那么 until 可以当连接词，后面就是接子句。它也可以当介系词，后面是接时间点，那就用来表示说某个动作持续到某个时刻才停止。它可以摆在句首或是摆在子句之后。我们就来看2个例句哦。Ron stayed up until he finished his work.Ron 熬夜到工作做完，我们看到 until 后面接子句，所以这边是连接词。好，那现在如果我在 until 后面接 3 a.m. 就是说 Ron 熬夜熬到凌晨3点钟，这时候呢 until 就变介系词喽。好，另外 until 跟否定词连用的时候是表达直到点点点才怎么样，用来指说动作直到什么什么才开始。我们看一下它的句型是主词加助动词加 not。再加动词，然后 until 后面接名词或子句，一样造2个例句哦。They didn't leave until the rain stopped. 直到雨停，他们才离开。那么 until 这边后面接子句嘛，所以我们看得出它是连接词。那如果我把它改成 until noon， 那就是表达直到中午12点他们才离开，这时候 until 就是介系词喽。好，第2个重点是 make 加受词加受词补语，它是表达使点点点具有什么，使什么成为什么。动词这边是表达使具有某种特质啊，使成为点点点。那么受词补语可以用形容词或名词，像 The song made him famous， 那首歌使他成名。The song made him a household name， 那首歌使他成为家喻户晓的人。在这2个句子当中，我们分别用到形容词 famous， 还有名词 a household name 来当受词补语。第3个重点是 as 形容词 as， 或者是 as 副词 as， 后面接主词，或者是接主词加动词，去表达和点点点一样。那这是原级比较句型，第一个 as 是副词。第2个 as 是连接词，后面要接子句。可是当前后比较的动词相同的话，我们后面那个动词就会比较常省略，或者是改用助动词来代替哦。看个例句会比较清楚。Josh is as tall as his brother， 或是 as his brother is。Josh 和他的哥哥一样高，那只是 is 我们通常省略。Joan doesn't travel as often as her sister does， 或者是 Joan doesn't travel as often as her sister。 Joan 不像她姐姐一样常去旅行，后面我们可以省略动词，或者是改用 does 去表达。接回到课文中。
After testing over 400 recipes, he finally got it right.The finished cake was as light and luxurious as chiffon fabric, so he called it Chiffon Cake. Baker initially kept his recipe a secret, allowing only certain local restaurants to make and sell it. Then, in 1947, he finally sold his creation to General Mills, which made the recipe public. They called it the first new cake in 100 years.
Welcome back.
Yes, so earlier we were talking about Harry Baker and how he wanted to create a cake that was as light as angel cake, but as buttery as butter cake.
I'm wondering, did he change his name? So really, was it just Henry Baker? Because in America, I know it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
If you want to change your name, you can just like go into the government office. All you need to do is just sign a paper and you legally change your name.
I wonder if that's the case, because maybe back in the day it was even easier.
Who does? Okay, let's continue finding out about chiffon cake. After testing over 400 recipes, he finally got it right. Okay, so he was bored, he needed a hobby, and so he wanted to make the perfect cake.
Yes.
The finished cake was as light and luxurious as chiffon fabric, so he called it chiffon cake.
Oh, so chiffon fabric is like that very light, usually you use it for dresses.
It's like kind of transparent,
Yeah.
it's very flowy.
That's why he called it chiffon cake.
And it does look very luxurious, that kind of fabric, right?
Yes.
So what does this mean? Luxurious is an adjective, which just means very comfortable or containing expensive things that give pleasure. So oftentimes it's something, if you look at something and it looks like it's expensive, you will say that thing is luxurious, or if it feels, smells, whatever, right? It has a lot to do with how expensive something looks.
Yeah, so like the way you're dressed?
I do not look like I'm wearing very luxurious clothing.
Yeah, not today.
Your jacket's more luxurious than mine, and a nice sweater.
Ah, thank you. I tried.
Okay, the example sentence. My flight got canceled, but the airline offered me a free room at a luxurious hotel.
Ooh, that sounds nice. All right, so continuing with the story, Baker initially kept his recipe a secret, allowing only certain local restaurants to make and sell it. Okay, so that way it's exclusive, right? It's like, oh, only these restaurants have it. It's very special. Everyone should go try it.
And it seems more luxurious when something is exclusive, right?
Yes, only these places have it. All right, so initially is an adverb and it means at first, at the beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
And usually like kind of this feeling that initially, blah, blah, blah,
Then,
but or then, like kind of things are going to change,
Yeah,
right?
usually when you use initially, you're going to change it afterwards,
Right.
So example, initially I moved to Beijing to learn Chinese. So I'm guessing this person did other things in Beijing afterwards.
Right, or they went from Beijing and moved to like Taiwan or something like that and then continued to learn Chinese. Has that kind of feeling.
Exactly.
Okay, continuing. Then in 1947, he finally sold his creation to General Mills, which made the recipe public. So General Mills is a huge company that works with things like grains to make things like oatmeal and like different things that have to do with grains, right? So that's a huge thing. If he could sell the recipe to them, he probably made a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they called it the first new cake in 100 years.
Ooh, wow.
So that was like their marketing strategy, right? Because everything else had been tried, and this is like a brand new cake like you've never tried before.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Because before, like in the 1920s, they already tried pretty much everything with cakes, right?
Yeah.
So now there's something new.
A new creation.
A creation. So a creation is a noun. It's the act of creating something or the thing that is created.
Right.
Okay. So for example, Greta's latest creation is a 10-meter tall metal statue of a squirrel.
That is a very interesting creation.
It is. Oh.
I've never created anything new like a recipe or something like that. I don't know that I'm very creative in the kitchen. I really like to follow the recipe.
Ah, so you're good at going by instructions, right?
Right. Whereas my wife is more creative. So she does, I don't know if she's creative or just does not like to follow instructions.
So she does her own way, right?
Yeah, if I give her the recipe, I'll say, well, why are you putting that much butter? She thinks, I feel it will taste better with more butter. And she just like uses her creativity, and usually her food turns out wonderful.
Okay, I think that we'll leave the creation part of things to the creatives.
Yes, but when you're baking, a lot of times being precise and follow the instructions is really important.
That's true.
Because it's about chemistry, right? When you're cooking.
Okay, so we learned so much more about chiffon cake and where it came from, and we'll learn more about it next time.
Okay, I'll see you in part 2.
Baker 测试了400多种食谱后，他终于做出适合的蛋糕。它像 chiffon fabric 雪纺绸布一样的轻柔奢华，所以就把它称为 chiffon cake。好，那这边补充一下 ，fabric 这个字就是指布料、织物。那么 chiffon 做名词的时候，它原本就是指雪纺绸。那老师们在描述这种布料的时候，就有提到它比较透明，我们用到 transparent 这个字 ，trans， P-A-R-E-N-T。Transparent 可以形容是透明的，或是形容是清澈的。好，再来看到单字 luxurious， 它是形容奢华的、豪华的，或是形容极为舒适的。那么课文接着写到说 ，Harry Baker 他最初是把他的食谱保密，那只允许某些当地餐厅来制作跟贩售。到了1947年，才把他的创作物卖给了通用模仿。那这家公司呢，才让配方公诸于世。好，单字 initially 这个副词就表示最初、一开始。那么 creation 它是名词，表示创作品啊、创造物或是有创立的意思。我们补充一下它的相关词性 creativity 这个字可以表达创意、创造力。那它是拼作 C-R-E-A-T-I-V-I-T-Y creativity。好，那么以上是今天的讲解。同学别走开，马上回来哦。
Flour, sugar, eggs, milk, and butter. That's all you need to make a good cake. For a great cake, though, you have to get creative, and that's what cooks have done for hundreds of years. They've added fruits and nuts, beaten the eggs into foam, and decorated the results with sweet designs that look almost too good to eat. Until the 1920s, bakers had seemingly done everything possible to make a cake delicious. Then, along came Harry Baker. When he moved to Hollywood in 1923, he was alone and needed a hobby. He started experimenting with cake recipes at night, hoping to find a way to make a cake that was as soft as the popular angel food cake, but as rich as traditional butter cakes. After testing over 400 recipes, he finally got it right. The finished cake was as light and luxurious as chiffon fabric, so he called it Chiffon Cake. Baker initially kept his recipe a secret, allowing only certain local restaurants to make and sell it. Then, in 1947, he finally sold his creation to General Mills, which made the recipe public. They called it the first new cake in 100 years.
Taiwan Lion Craftsman is a must-see destination for visitors to Lukang Art Village. Junshong Shi, who took up an apprenticeship with his father Shi Bing, is known as the Lion King. Junshong Shi has practiced the art of lion head making for more than 30 years. Having become a famous artist at a young age, Mr. Shi regularly receives orders from temples, martial arts studios, and other institutions. When he first started receiving orders, he grew curious about different styles of lion heads in Taiwan. Therefore, he began researching the origin and culture of the lion parade. He would keep an extra copy every time someone made an order to have a lion head custom made. Aside from admiring the art of lion head making at Taiwan Lion Craftsman, you can also gain a better understanding of Taiwan's lion parade culture through the lively explanations of Mr. Shi, such as the differences between an open-mouthed lion and a closed-mouthed lion. There are also lions with unique styles, such as lions made from dustpans or wearing bamboo sieves. The eye-catching boar's head, made by an indigenous craftsman, is embedded with long, sharp tusks. Lion head making involves a complicated process. First, a clay mold must be made and glued with a layer of craft paper. After the layer has dried, it is painted. It takes an entire month to make a lion's head. Each piece is crafted with amazing skill. If you happen to visit while Mr. Shi is making one, the experience will be quite memorable. Mr. Shi introduced DIY lion head painting activities, enabling visitors to have fun while learning about this traditional form of art. In these activities, visitors can create a lifelike lion stroke by stroke. Postcards are also on sale in the studio for visitors to remember the beauty of lion heads by.